It is 21 days till the man burns, and today we're talking about doing Burning Man without a bike. I cannot imagine going to Burning Man without a bike, even though it is not a requirement. Many burners see it as just a must-have item. Having a bike really gives you that freedom to just get around, to go wherever you want to go, to get there quickly. You know, Black Rock City is huge. If you go without a bike, then you are a bit more limited in what you're going to be able to do, what you're going to be able to experience. But like I say, it's not a requirement. You can do Burning Man bikeless, and you can still have a great time. So if you're heading off without a bike, then you're going to want to pick your camp location very carefully. You're probably going to be mainly focused on what things are around you. So that could be theme camps, if there's particular theme camps that you absolutely love. If you're a first timer, you know, maybe just look for theme camps that you think that you would really enjoy and try and get a location next to them. You will probably want to make sure you are quite close to facilities, you know, portaloos, ice. If you have any medical concerns and you think you might need medical help while you're there, you might want to make sure you are near that medical help. Luckily for us, someone has put together an unofficial map of Black Rock City, so I will link it in the description below and you can check that out and kind of start to get a lay of the land a bit, figure out where might be a good camping spot for you. I think that someone called Dhamerseeker over on Reddit produced this map, so massive thank you to you. You have really done something amazing for us all. But yeah, if you're coming without a bike, then your camp location is going to be incredibly important. You don't want to end up like miles away from the things you want to be doing or the things you need and having to make like this huge trek every day just to go and get ice or to go to the loo or something. There are communal bikes at Burning Man, so that is another option. I have done a video talking about communal bikes and the etiquette that goes with them, but the important thing to know is these communal bikes, they're kind of hop on, hop off. So you can't go and like commandeer the bike for the day unless of course you are riding it all day, then you know that would be acceptable. But you know, you can't get a communal bike and ride all the way over to the other side of the city and then lock it up somewhere so that you can ride it back. You will need to be prepared for finding your own way back to your camp later on, or you know, just hoping you come across another communal bike that you can use to make that journey back. There are also the art cars, you know, you could go out and try and hop on an art car and see where it takes you. You know, art cars aren't taxis, it's very unlikely you'll jump on an art car and they'll be like, and where would you like to go? So it could end up being a bit of a mystery tour. And you know, be prepared, you could end up getting off that art car quite far away from your own camp, and again, you will have to try and find your way back to your own camp whenever you want to go. So you know, with both art cars and bikes, they are a great way to be able to get further afield if you don't have your own bike. But they are one-way tickets, so you're going to have to make sure you have enough energy and your feet are feeling good enough to take you all the way back to wherever you need to be. You could always borrow a bike as well. You know, not everyone is going to be using their bikes every minute of every day. If you have a campmate with a bike, if you have made some friends and they've got bikes and they're not using them, then maybe someone is going to be willing to just lend you a bike for a few hours. If you're going to do that, make sure that you look after their bike and make sure you return it when you say you will. You know, people are going to be very unwilling to lend you a bike a second time if you say like, oh, I'm just going to go and get ice with it, and then you disappear all day. So, you know, if you borrow a bike, it might feel amazing to have that freedom all of a sudden. You might want to go and see and do everything you possibly can. But, you know, like I say, make sure you return it on time, make sure you look after it. Otherwise, it's probably going to be the only time you get to borrow a bike off of that person. Seeing as a lot of your time at Burning Man is probably going to involve some walking, you might want to prepare for that in advance. Especially if you have a desk job or you spend a huge percentage of your time just sitting and not really doing much walking around. It is surprising how much your feet can end up hurting after a day of walking. Like, they can end up hurting so much that you need to spend like a day or two just like to recover the use of your feet. So it is definitely worth, you know, doing a load of walking and just really getting your body a bit more used to it. You know, you don't need to go crazy and start training for a marathon, but you know, maybe start jogging or running or just going for long walks whenever time allows. And pay attention to, you know, how your body feels, how your feet feel afterwards, and maybe you'll start to get an idea of kind of how much walking you're able to do. It is a really good idea to kind of know your limits before you get to Burning Man so that you don't end up needing like a day of recovery or a couple of days of recovery because you've just overdone it. If you are going to be walking, it's a good idea to wear your Burning Man footwear. You know, if you're bringing boots, whatever you're bringing, maybe do your walks in those so that your feet can get used to that as well, because, you know, those are the things you're going to be wearing to do all this walking at Burning Man. and you don't want to end up with like blisters or really painful feet from them. You might as well break those things in while you can. And going along with that, it is worth bringing along some like basic medical supplies so that if you do get hit with blisters or anything like that, then you have whatever you need to deal with it. You're going to want to take some extra special care of your feet. I think probably one of the most important things is to not let it be a downer for you. You know, it can be extra hard if all of your campmates have bikes and they are off doing all these kinds of things and you don't have a bike, so you're just like hearing about their experiences and, you know, wishing that you'd bought a bike along so that you could go and do and see all of these things too. But if you dwell on it, it's just going to be a downer for you. You know, just accept the fact that you don't have a bike. Make the most of the things that you are able to do, the places you are able to go under your own foot power. Because if you've come without a bike, there's not really much you can do about it. You can't change it. So you might as well enjoy the things that you do have rather than feeling sad about the things that you don't. So I hope this is helpful, guys. If any of the rest of you have any tips or advice for doing Burning Man bikeless, if any of you have done it, then, you know, let us know in the comments below. And if you see me at Burning Man this year, feel free to come and say hi to me. Bye, guys.